Welcome to Art Pays Me. I'm excited to welcome the first rapper to Art Pays Me. I chat with 2019 Polaris Award winning artist Haviah Mighty about her latest project, The 13th Floor, and how it came to be. We talk about breaking through as an artist and how race and gender can impact your career. I asked her if music artists really need record labels in 2019. And I even got Haviah to share her top 5 rappers dead or alive. She'll be in Halifax from actually this weekend, October 23rd to 26th for Halifax Pop Explosion. So you get to experience her live. You won't regret it. She's a great performer. I love her music, which is why I flagged her for the show. And and actually, don't forget that I'll be at Halifax Pop Explosion recording a live episode with Mage, who will be the second rapper to be on the show. So make sure to check that out at the Carlton on the 26th. Peace. What up, artists? My name is Dwayne Jones. I'm the creative director and founder of a lifestyle brand called Art Pays Me. This is the Art Pays Me podcast, and I'm passionate about finding ways that people like you and me can make a living for ourselves off of our creativity, and maybe we can make the world a better place at the same time. Let's get into it. So welcome to the show. Thank you very much for taking some time out. So look, I came across your music on the lineup for Halifax Pop Explosion, and I was like, I'm a hip hop fan, so I just immediately look for the rappers, and I saw you, and I was like, oh, let me check out the music. For some reason, I had never heard of you, so now I feel like I've been living under a rock. And I was like, oh, she's done all of this, and the music is dope. So, congratulations. And I just basically wanted to introduce my audience to you and get to share your story a bit. So,
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So, where did you grow up?
I grew up in Toronto, and I lived there until maybe I was literally talking about this yesterday. I think I was between 8 and 10. I'm not sure. I couldn't figure it out. But between 8 and 10, I moved to Brampton, and then that's where I still am, but always still frequenting Toronto. So, yeah, the greater Toronto area is pretty much my whole background, everything I've seen growing up kind of thing.
Got you. So, one thing that I found interesting, I was listening to 13th Floor, and congratulations, a dope album. And
thank you.
What is behind the name?
The name 13th Floor? Okay, so it was interesting. I mean, initially I was thinking, what is this album going to be about? There were 13 records, and I was trying to, possibly take that numerology approach. What does 13 mean? And I did a little bit of research, and I learned a little bit about, the reason why we think that 13 is a bad number, like it's seen as the death card. In some regions and in some, particular types of understanding, but then for some people it's the rebirth card. And it's, what I thought was interesting about it was, the way that you looked at something, kind of like half glass full or half glass empty concept. So that's kind of where my mind started to go, just off of the strength of there being 13 records. And then I had a song called 13, very, very impactful record on the album, I would say, and I think it's probably the most powerful song that I've written, not only on the album, but probably to date. And so I started going, into the 13, there's 13 records, there's a song called 13, maybe I should just call the album 13. But I felt like that would kind of be somewhat restricting in that it would point really specifically to that song and maybe the amount of songs on the record, but it doesn't really encompass the other songs on the album, and so the title didn't feel all-inclusive. But then I stumbled upon the idea of the 13th floor and the fact that we don't have the 13th floor in most of our buildings in North America, and then there's that little bit of research that I did and that understanding that I stumbled upon, which was barely any, and the fact that the average person probably doesn't even know that, and yet we all know that the 13th floor is generally not in our buildings, and we all kind of seem to understand that concept, and it felt very parallel to the narratives that exist in society that are often dismissed by others who don't understand them, the only thing that they seem to understand is like the general consensus. For example, for Black women, there's a general consensus of what Black women are like, and our actual narratives are dismissed by those that don't understand them. And that's so many of the topics and themes that are on this album that I've always felt was too uncomfortable to talk about. So therefore, it's almost like me dismissing my own reality for the comfort of other people. And the approach with this record was for me to not do that, for me to not tap into other people's discomfort, for me to actually not really care about what other people's discomfort, how that might be raised, and just to speak from a perspective that I thought was important and not dismiss my own narratives in the same ways that other people have dismissed my narratives. And the album kind of started to take the angle of speaking the unspoken narrative. And so that's where the 13th Floor title came into play, was it being kind of like something that we've dismissed from our reality. And it's like, no, we're gonna acknowledge its existence, and we're gonna speak on it because it does exist. And yeah, it's just kind of like a metaphor for where the album goes topic-wise.
Yeah, 13, that's some real shit. I mean, like,
thank you.
you got in there. Like, she talks about, like, the Black woman's value to the slave master and the Black man's value. Like, you took it there. And so I was wondering, with songs like that, you said you do your research. Do you, like, is that something you did research on before you wrote the song, or you just...
that song actually came out of me doing research at that time. And again, like, research is continual, so there's so much more research that I have to do. I feel like I could write a 13 part 2, 3, and 4 now, and someday I'll be able to write a part 56. And like, I'm not saying I'm going to. It's just there's still so much that I don't know. But I think, like, I always had the concept, or like I always believed, and maybe I didn't understand exactly why, specific examples of things throughout my experience in life, things that I've learned, things throughout society, where I was like, wow, there's a lot of parallels between the jail system and what slavery once was. But I didn't really have factual evidence to back up that fact. And I've spoken on this topic publicly, and didn't have enough knowledge to really like kind of incite any change in the people I was talking about it with. Not to mention, again, you always get that this is kind of not the time and this is kind of not the place. We're at work. Maybe don't talk about this, and you just kind of always get a little bit of this like pushback.
It's never the right time.
And yeah, exactly. And on top of that, then you don't have kind of like the evidence to kind of make a really impactful point concisely. So you're kind of rambling because you're still thinking through what you think this is. And so for me, like, I remember having the production for 13, and I started off by writing from the perspective, like, not from the perspective of anybody else. It was still from my perspective, but I was writing as if I had the opportunity to talk to a guy who was in jail who was a friend of one of my friends. I don't really know him that well. I did know him, like, as an acquaintance, and he got incarcerated, and he's been in jail for over 5 years at this point. And it's quite a sad story, and I was talking to my friend about it, who was very good friends with him, and we were just kind of talking about the perspective of what it must be like to be where he is. And I wrote a song kind of like talking to him, almost like if he got to hear this song, how could I make him feel empowered and strengthened and loved and valued still, despite his circumstances. And I wrote this whole song that I'll probably revisit and rework and reproduce later. It was a great concept, but I didn't stick to it because it didn't seem to fit the album as much as I wanted it to, but it was a good piece of work. But what stuck to me was kind of like doing a bit of research on what it is like to be in jail, and kind of like that slave element to it, and that kind of remained in my brain. So although I didn't continue on writing that particular song, it amalgamated into me doing research on the 13th Amendment and turned into a whole different song that I felt was kind of more inclusive of all of the topics and themes on the album, and more of a widespread kind of educational experience. And I felt the education behind it made it much more impactful. And the fact that I was able to, I guess, put facts and evidence behind concepts that I had already had, for me, the song kind of poured out of me. Like, it wasn't even really up to me how quick that song was written. I wrote that song faster than any song on the album because I was watching a YouTube video and just happened to stumble upon the 13th Amendment. But I'd never seen the 13th Amendment in layman's terms like that. And for me, it was just like, oh, like, this is no longer my opinion. Like, things that I've thought are actualized right here, right now with this, you know? And I was like, this is a YouTube video. I had to make sure that this is what the 13th Amendment actually said in that verbiage, in those words. And recognizing that it said that for me was like, this is a song. Like, this is a narrative that has been dismissed.
Yeah.
This is something that many of us don't know that we should know. How did we not know this? How did I not know this? I think that's what where the song really came from. Was how the hell did I not actually know this already? Mm-hmm. And the song just kind of stumbled out of me because there were themes, like I was saying, I knew certain things, but I always just thought it was like my opinion, and that, you know, you have to do research. You can't argue an opinion. You can't speak like so candidly on just an opinion. But the factual element in it made it really like clear to me what topic I was navigating.
Right.
And the fact that this is something that most people don't know. And I was like, they gotta know. How can I write a song that will tell everybody what I just learned in a way where they won't listen to this song and attribute it to just it being my opinion? That, I think, was the approach. I was like, how can I actually make an effective record that when you're listening to it, you don't feel like, yeah, this is a black woman talking some black woman shit. You know what I mean? Like, because that's what I think everybody's going to think. Obviously, somebody who doesn't identify with this experience and with this narrative is going to assume that, you know, I'm going to have a personal bias as a black woman. And so I was like, how do I remove that element? So that this is like, I removed that kind of that human element so people can really only hear for what it is, the facts that are built into this record that predate me. These things aren't coming from me. And yeah, I was really grateful to stumble upon that information at the time that I did. When I did, happened to be my day off at work, and I happened to have the time to have the mental capacity to like be open enough to write that song. You know, it just came together, and I'm grateful for that day, for that moment, for the space to even, you know, not be preoccupied in something else to be able to write that song.
That's one of the things that I love about hip hop that often gets dismissed, that you can create genuine art that it's you know, bars, production, everything like that, and yet educate someone in a way that they would have never even thought to be educated. And it kind of took me back to some of the 90s hip hop that I used to listen to, where you just, oh shit, they're talking about stuff I never really understood before to be true. And you turn out, you find out, yeah, it really did happen, right? So how did it feel to win? You actually won a Polaris Prize for this album, and you said it's like your most, like, kind of real in a way, like more.
Yeah.
How does that feel? Like, you know, because I know as an artist you might feel like you gotta, you know, cater to certain people, cater to certain groups, and this time you just went, fuck it, this is me, and this is one that's getting acknowledged. Like,
yeah. I mean, I think that it's like a validator that, like, me kind of approaching making music without holding back and for the reasons that I've held back in the past. It's just a validator that I should continue to navigate telling stories that need to be told instead of silencing those stories because some people might be uncomfortable while hearing them. Which I think for a lot of my previous records, I mean, like 13th Floor is my 6th record to date, but it's my debut record. It's the only record that most people know that exists from me. And in those other 5 records, there was a lot of peddling around topics that I thought maybe I need to approach like this, and or maybe I shouldn't talk about that. And, you know, it's taken me a lot of practice, a lot of time, a lot of records, a lot of songs to feel comfortable enough to write songs in the way that I wrote the songs on the album 13th Floor. So for me, this is a validation that the album where I finally chose to do this is the album where I'm getting the most recognition. And, you know, it means that authenticity really is an important thing that people gravitate towards. And that, you know, the truth and reality, like, you know, I don't consider myself to be an activist per se, but activists oftentimes have been shifts in our economy that had they not done what they did, like, we wouldn't live in the ways that we do now. And, you know, oftentimes what they have to do is not be thwarted by the things that they're going to do and the difficulty that comes with it. And so for me, I'm no longer shying away from doing things because of the difficulty that comes with it, and more so feeling empowered to do those things because of the difficulty that comes with it, and the fact that other people may have not have done it, or there's not as many examples of this that exist, and so I'm actually filling a hole or filling a void where we need to see more representation, and we need the community to be more aware of these narratives that, you know, maybe are a little bit more silent. And yeah, for the Polaris to acknowledge an album that speaks specifically to the Smith narratives, and for it to be acknowledged for important narratives, I mean, it's starting to do what I could have only dreamed it would do.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing is the things that back the Polaris. For some people, you know, a lot of people come up to me and they're like, wow, like, what are you going to do with $50,000? You got a bag. Like, that's, you know, and they look at it from this really surface level perspective, but it's like, first of all, I'm an investor, and I had to learn to invest everything that was coming in 2018 into this record, and in 2019, I'm continuing to invest. And the $50,000 win from the Polaris is only that. It's only a further investment, and the value in it. The part about having that money that makes me excited is that, you know, now that we've sat down and talked about the value, the value of other records on the album and the assets that we're going to continue to create, and the fact that we have the funding to do it, that for me is where the win becomes exciting. Having $50,000 doesn't mean anything until you know where it's going to be allocated, and then you can get excited because you know what you're going to be able to fund. You know what's next. Yeah. And for a long time, I didn't know what was next because we had less resources. We put a lot of money into this record. We put a lot of time and energy into this record. We've exhausted a lot of those funds. And so, you know, in order to continue to sustain, you know, you have to figure out where new money is coming from and how you can continue to create experiences from this same record, from these same songs. And now we have a place with which to do that. And not only that, you know, the opportunity to perform in front of the Canadian music industry, like so many people, like that's the pinnacle.
Yeah.
You know, to me, it's right up there with the Junos. And the only thing that makes it kind of more prevalent than the Junos is that there's only one winner. In the Junos, there's a multitude of winners throughout the night. And I'm sure, like, being a Juno winner is an amazing thing to be able to say, and it's something I'm aiming for still. But to be a Polaris winner as well is even harder to do because there's only one, and it's based on artistic merit alone. And that means, what is the artistic value of your music?
Yeah,
and that's
no
something
hype.
that for me is really important.
Yeah.
So now I can say, people, not only do I see myself as an artistic vision artist, and as somebody who's gotten their first notoriety from being, like, perceived as a battle rapper, participating in ciphers. That was where a lot of my initial notoriety came from when I joined the sorority and all of that. And so for people to finally recognize me for what I always have seen myself as, a conceptual, visual concept artist, you know, now everybody can see me as that, and now it's kind of like undeniable. Not to mention promoters that book you, they see it and they offer you 10 times what they offered you last year.
Yeah, actually,
and for me, it's like, great.
I wanted to ask you that. Yeah, it's like this. All this stuff adds to your credibility, so now you can get more bags.
Exactly, and the bags like are cool in a way, but it's not the money more than it is the sustainability that money allows. And you can't continue to grow as a musician unless you're making more and more from the investment. And and the investment is the time and the creativity and all of the you know, what you're putting back into yourself creatively. Like, you have to be able to generate more off of that in order to, like, create bigger and better experiences. And that's just how this economy works. That's how business works.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I think how the Polaris adds to that is where I am now. I'm starting to see the value in it, and that, you know, people are like, have you processed it yet? Like, have you sat down with the fact that, you know, you're a Polaris winner? And I think it's more like what it can do for you that has started to create that process of, wow, I won this thing. It's not even like, wow, I won this thing. It's like, wow, I got, like, this show offer. It's bigger than any show offer I've ever gotten off the chart of Polaris. That's, like, a part of processing it. And then, wow, like, we're talking about working on this music video that's going to cost this, and we have the funds for it. Even if we don't get a grant that we're going to apply for, we still have the funds for it. Those are the types of things that for me is like, wow, you're a Polaris winner.
That's one thing that I love that you dug into, because like my podcast and my clothing brand are called Art Pays Me, and it's all about telling artists that you gotta like embrace getting paid for your stuff, even if it not necessarily just so you can have nice things, but getting paid means you get to increase and improve the experience of your creativity. So because you've got this 50,000, now you can invest into doing an even better project next time. And it's healthy to want to grow that way. There's nothing wrong with that. So I love that you mentioned that. And also, like you touched on the sorority. You started out as a solo artist, and then you kind of got into the sorority because you were noticed for doing ciphers.
Yeah, no, I kind of got into the sorority because we did a video. We did a cipher. We didn't know each other at the time, but we all participated in the cipher. That got a lot of notoriety, and I say that that's like the most. I've been a solo artist since 2009, like kind of like actively, and like there's work that I've been putting out since that time. And this cipher I was invited to be a part of was 2016. So yeah, I'm still an artist for many years. And I've gotten like little bouts of success, and got a song on World Star, little things like that. And my name was floating around here and there, but never to the capacity that it was once that video happened and got shared on Facebook. I got 1 million views on a verse that I did in 3 days. And I'll never forget the mindset that shifted for me, or the way that my mindset shifted for me at that time. It was like an epiphany. I was like, if you don't look at this as recognition for what you need to do with the rest of your career, like go be an accountant. I always tell the story because I really thought that. And I really made a lot of changes. And at the same time that I started making these changes as a solo artist, the demand for the 4 girls in that video was also rising. And so my solo career was magnifying at the same time that the demand for us to become a crew was rising, and that kind of happened at the same time. And I put an album out around the time that the sorority was formulating, and then the following year we put an album out. And in those 2 years, I learned so much. And all of what I've learned and taken, I feel 2016 was like an exponential growth, one of those things that created exponential growth. And I always say, like, your career is like little strides, and then one thing will happen that's like a big stride, and then back to little strides, and then again you'll have big strides. And so for me, that cipher video was a big stride. It was like I recognized through the amount of people that were reaching out to me, the amount of people that recognized where I worked and were recognizing me in person, that there's value. People recognize that you're a really good rapper. And I also recognize that people only realized I was a good rapper. And if I didn't do something with the attention, I was going to lose it. And so my business ethic, I think in 2016 was what really kicked in. I think it's cool, my process, because from 2009 to 2016, I was just perfecting my rap skills. So by the time I was participating in that video, I was ready to go. People could recognize that I was good in the video, and what I had to recognize was that my business was trash. And I did, because the amount of people that reached out to me to say, hey, I hit you up on Twitter, but the email bounced back. Oh shit, the email on my Twitter is wrong because it doesn't match my Facebook. So they had to like search to find me. I just started to realize that when it comes to business, you have to make it easy for the fans. You have to make it easy for the listener. They should be able to go to all of your social medias and find the latest song that you've released. It should not be any more difficult than that. And I didn't. In all those years I was making music, I didn't understand that concept. I didn't understand monetization. I didn't understand reinvesting. And I didn't understand turning music into money at all.
Yeah.
And even still, with that video, there was no money out of it. I'm sure the entity that uploaded it, which was Team Backpack at the time, I'm sure they generated money on the video, but you didn't. And so even me recognizing that, like, there were streams of revenue that I wasn't tapping into, I was like, okay, well, how do I create music that will generate streams of revenue for me? And that's when I put out my 5th record, Flower City, and that record was actually the record that made me, like, I reached the pinnacle of business sense on my own that intrigued my booking agent, which brought in my management, which kind of helped to create the reality that made 13th Floor possible. And if it wasn't for my mindset shift, I don't think that I would have ever garnered the attention of the team that I have now, that I'm really grateful for, because they've done a lot of things, down to like my team just understanding how to acquire grants. We've acquired thousands of dollars for this record that made the visuals impactful, because we could afford to pay the right person for the job, and we could afford to pay the right producers and get the right collaborators, because we were able to source the funding, and we were able to do promotion in a way that was impactful because of the money we were able to generate. And all of this came from me having a better understanding of getting my music in front of tastemakers and door openers and music industry critiques. And that's literally what the Polaris is. And somehow, in 3 years, I just feel like we've been able to do a lot. I say we because for a long time it was me, and a long time it was my personal investment from full-time jobs consistently. And then for a large part of 2016 to 2019, new members came in and joined me on this vision and helped take it to where it is right now. And I just want to continue to grow it. And at this point, I feel, there's this thing that they say, you want to conquer your own city, country, whatever, before you move out. And I've always felt like, wow, how am I going to do that in Canada? Canada doesn't even, understand hip-hop in the ways that I approach hip-hop. And I've always kind of had that fear that I wouldn't really be able to do that here in Canada. And now I have, in the most optimal way, which is to win something like the Polaris. And, if I can get a Juno, I feel like we've hit the pinnacle. And we need to transcend and take this to Europe and take this to the States. And, we're already doing that. We're looking for show opportunities. I just did a small tour in Europe. And these messages and narratives have been dismissed worldwide.
Yeah.
Not just here. And so it's a beautiful thing to be able to kind of make these changes here first and be validated in the steps that we've taken to do it so we can create a game plan and do it in a more international route.
Yeah, I saw Double XL actually gave you a shout out as one of the top 15 rappers to check out from Toronto as well.
Yeah, and that was the beginning of this year too. That was before the assets were rolling out, before the album was really developed at all. More so when I was just starting to mention that there will probably be an album, that was when that shout out happened. So that shout out even probably helped to create some validity for the album before it came to be. So yeah, I'm grateful for just all of those little independent outlets that have paid attention to the journey that I've been on for so many years.
Mm-hmm. So you're on your business shit. Do rappers in 2019 need a record label?
No, I don't think that you need a record label. I did this entire record independently, and I think that there's a lot of people who are starring, especially the Canadian deals, who are probably doing less than what we've done in this year. And it's not like a shot or shade. It's just that there's a certain point where I think it depends on what you want to do with your career, and it depends on where you want to go with it. And I definitely think there's a certain point in time where a label is a consideration. I think you can consider a label early on as well, but I think you do need to understand, for this album, I was offered not a label deal, but I was offered a recoup deal. Hey, we're willing to give you anywhere between $100,000 and $250,000 for your record.
Okay.
And there's no label deal. Consideration, yeah, maybe. If the recoup wasn't times two, so if I took a $250,000 deal, my recoup was $500,000.
So you had to pay them back that much money.
Yeah, that's the way that it wasn't even a deal. It was just
a loan,
an investment offer. Yeah, and that's essentially when you sign to a label, that's essentially what you're getting.
Yeah,
is money that you have to recoup. And I definitely think in the beginning, for some people that might be the reality. Maybe the deal makes a lot of sense. Maybe they trust your vision. But do you need it? Definitely not, because all of that money that you're given, you have to be able to make it back for the label. And you can bury an independent music career starting off like that. How, I didn't generate $500,000 from 13th floor. No way.
Right.
No way. Right? And so maybe that $250,000 investment would have created a much better rollout. Maybe it would have. I don't know. But what we were able to do, especially if you're in Canada, there are grants that you can access, and those grants constitute the money that is not recouped. Mm-hmm. You just need to have a business plan in place. And to be honest, when you go with the label, you should have a business plan in place anyways. Essentially, everything that you would need to do with a label, you would need to do as an independent artist. And so that's why I think that you don't need a label. I think if a label happens to make sense, you just have to weigh out your pros and your cons and determine if it makes sense for you. But for us, it didn't make sense to have a label. We didn't have a label. We still don't have a label. We're still independent. I'm lucky enough to have a management team that kind of functions like a label, in that there's a multitude of people working the record from different angles. We have grant writer, we have a manager, and we have people that kind of take on more than one role, and those roles are kind of the roles that a label would take on. You'd have one person appointed to this, one person appointed to that, and if you can develop a team of people that can kind of encompass all of the roles of an album rollout that a label would, like look at how a label, you can just look at how a label is structured and how they're able to create a successful artist, and then just try to follow that model. Because I feel the more leverage you can build for yourself before signing anything, if you ever do choose to sign, you want to go in with more leverage. The more leverage you have, the better deal that you can develop for yourself, and the more say that you'll have over the clauses of the deal or of the contract, and the more value that you have to somebody, the more say you have over the way the deal is structured. Because the higher your value, the more they'll be willing to work with and compromise with what it is that you want.
Yeah.
And I would never...
Oh, go ahead.
What were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say, I just remember hearing nightmare stories about, like, people signing the rights away to their music and then the label never releasing it.
Yeah, and then that's another thing. So, like, when you sign, generally the label does take ownership over your records. The master recording is generally owned by them, and their logic behind that is the investment that they're putting in. They're providing the studios for you to record, and they're providing all of the resources to make the record come to existence. But yeah, you have to have leverage in order to negotiate whether or not they're going to own part of your masters or all of your masters or none of your masters. You can't even begin to have that conversation if you don't have any value yet. If the label is going to create all of your value, you're probably going to put all of your value in the label, and you're going to give a lot of it away because you don't really have anything outside of the label. You want. I think a good position to be considering a label is where you don't need that. And I think that's kind of where I am now. If I go into a label meeting, I don't need a label to sustain a living.
Yeah.
I quit my day job, and I can survive without a label. So the only thing that the label can do is add to this vision in a way that's optimal for the growth of Haviah Mighty and the rest of my team. And if there is a label that can do that in a way that I'm not losing intellectual property, or I'm not going against my moral ethics, if they really support the vision, because at the end of the day, the vision and the goal is to get this vision in a mainstream realm in front of as many people as possible. And I understand that a label can do that better than an independent team. We've been able to do a lot in Canada.
Yeah.
Where I might consider a label is in the States, where it's a completely new market with 10 times the amount of people that's here, and I'm not tapped into that network. And a label will be tapped into that network. And it's not because they have money why I would be considered a label. It's because they have resources and they have the network. And I'm going to call it like that's a telemarketer. Yeah, but basically, we don't need a label, and I think that it's the best position to be in is when you can consider a label but not need one. Then you can go into these meetings with no pressure. You can. There's so many things that they'll sell you. They'll bring you to this beautiful studio or a beautiful home. It's a mansion. And you'll be like, wow, there's a pool in the back with a fountain. And all these things will look so luxurious. But when you don't need any of that, you can't be sold by the wrong thing. The only thing you're going to be sold by is truly adding value to the vision that you have for your craft.
Yeah.
And truly expanding the investment you've made in yourself. And so for me, I'll stay independent until such time that it makes sense to grow the craft in a way where I'm not going against my intellectual property, I'm not going against my moral ethics. And yeah, for me, I would recommend that for any artist to look at the way a label is structured, look at the way a label is made up, and then just try to structure a team around yourself that can kind of mimic that and emulate that until such time that you need more.
Yeah. So with that said, I was listening to the song In Women Color, and I saw some parallels. You kind of talked about like a messed up situation when this boy basically assaulted you and didn't take you seriously as a hooper or whatever. And
Yeah.
do you find like similarly that happens as a rapper where we still do this dumb thing where we talk about the top 5 rappers or we say the top 5 female rappers instead of just like lumping everyone together? Like, do you?
Exactly.
It's still a very male, like the mentality in hip hop is still very male centered. Do you find that that kind of thing is it an event? Is it a way something you could use as an advantage, or is it something that hurts you?
I think it's both. I try to use it in a way that is advantageous to me. I definitely try to continue to navigate it like that. The ways that it is a disadvantage, I think I didn't understand that early on in my career, because I used to say stuff like, "It doesn't matter that I'm a girl. Like I'm not." Like I used to think I wasn't held back in any way by being a female. I didn't recognize that there were things that happened before you get a gig that hold you back. And so I think, yeah, for sure, there's this lowered expectation of what a woman can do and make it less likely for her to get booked for a gig in the first place. And that definitely holds women back who are competing within this realm from getting opportunities, from being able to explore those opportunities, and from being able to prove themselves. But in addition to that, for me, knowing that there's this lowered expectation, I find I go into show elements and I use it as an advantage only because I know that I'm good at what I do, and the reaction is often the same because of ignorance. So it's like you're utilizing ignorance to create a sense of leverage, because you generally know that you're going to do better than people expect you to do, which is pretty fucked up. That's pretty fucked up to know.
Yeah.
But that's because, for me, I started off kind of like inspired by the battle rap era. So my focus, and also 7 years of singing lessons before I'd ever rapped. So I feel like I have a big focus on pronunciation, breath control, clarity of words, and of course, executing those things live, even while doing aggressive movement. And those things are really important to me. And they're really important to singers, more than rappers, because those are things that you learn, technical way of using the diaphragm. And so having that understanding, I think, has made me approach rapping from a much more technical perspective, which is, we don't have that expectation of men, let alone women. So you just know that if you do that, you learn after every single show where there's always going to be one person that says, "Wow, you're really good for a woman. You're really good for like a female rapper."
Yeah.
Or like one thing I got a lot was, "I don't even like rap, but like your stuff is good." Like that's something I caught a lot. If I would get booked, I'd be like the token a lot. And by being the token at first, I thought, well, I'm getting these opportunities and I'm playing on stage, and is this really a setback? Until I realized, yeah, but you're getting so few opportunities because you have to start to change the narrative that you deserve these opportunities before you even get them. And I've helped to do that over the years, and now getting headlining spots and promoters that believe that somebody like me is worthy of a 45-minute set in front of their crowd. And that's taken a long time for not only me, but many women that participate in the music community to help create that shift and that change in the mindset of so many that, in order for you to have a really live, upbeat set, you have to get a male artist, like a Travis Scott or something. Or if you want to get like a really conscious rapper, then you got to get like a Kendrick Lamar or something. And it's like, no, there are women that do that, and the narrative, I think, is starting to shift. And yeah, I think for me, like, it was a setback in ways that you saw a little bit less, because you just don't. Oftentimes, the setback is just not getting something and not knowing that you weren't considered. So you just don't know that there was this thing that you could have done. You're available. The promoter knows your name, but they just don't dawn on inviting you because you're a female rapper, and in their mind, you wouldn't fit the vision of what they're trying to do, and then, being invited to be in a cypher with all women, and, that helps create the shift too. Like, you don't look at women as like battle-centric bars, heavy, lyrical, da-da-da. Like,
yeah.
That narrative is a new one. And again, a lot of this shift is about trying to like shift these narratives so that newer ones can take the forefront, because that's how we progress, that's how we learn, that's how we grow. and we can learn so much from each other by doing that. And I think it's funny. I actually had to learn that being a woman was a setback as a rapper, because I started rapping like kind of on the internet. I started doing the battle rap thing online with like a bunch of American guys. And I was one of the top people on that website, probably because I was good. And, there would always be rap bars about women. Like, people would always say things like, you're a girl and da-da-da-da. But this is battle rap. So, like, I just always look at that like, he's insulting me because he's battling. I got to insult him for being a dude. And that's just what you do when you battle.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even really looking at it like I'm a woman. I was doing really well on that website. I was one of the top 10 like freestylers ranking on that site, and I was young. So, for me, I realized only later on what the setback was. It's kind of like when you're young and you're black, you don't know what that means, but you run around playing with all other kids, and like eventually it hits you one day that you know what I mean? Like it I lost my train of thought.
I know what you mean. Like, I grew up kind of thinking racism is doesn't exist in the same way as my parents experienced it. So I used to say that to them, and they would try to like preach to me about, you got to watch out for this, you got to watch out for that. And I would argue, nah, it's not like that, just blah blah blah, until I got out in the world and then experienced some shit, and I'm like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
Yeah, and I it's funny. I had the exact same problem. I remember being in high school, and I was enhanced. I was one of the people that had an IEP, and they said I learned faster or whatever. So I had to go to a school that wasn't my home school, and the school that wasn't my home school was not a school as the home school. The home school had dance class, music class, like a studio in the school. I wanted to go to that school. That school had 75% honor roll, which meant I was going to excel better. Like, I was going to look like more, and the other school had like the 80% honor roll, which meant it would be more difficult to achieve the honor roll. And they didn't have a creative program, and it was further away, and I had to take a short bus to get there. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it. And I was in enhanced classes from grade 3 to grade 8. But in high school, it looks a little different. Like, you have to be in the same class with the same people, which means you're not really even meeting. I just didn't want to do it. And I went into the meeting. They had a meeting with each of the enhanced kids once a day, alphabetical. So when they got to the end, I went there with my mom in first period, and I had talked to all the other kids, like, hey, like, what did they talk to you about? They're like, oh, they just tell you what high school's like, and, when lunches are and how that works. And, yeah, they just kind of talk to you about what high school would be like. And I was like, okay, cool. So I went into this meeting thinking we were going to get the same talk. We're going to just talk about high school and what it's like, and we're going to learn some stuff. And they decided to talk about all my suspensions, which I had 4 suspensions. I had one every year since grade 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to have that kid. But they started to talk about all my suspensions and how they have, really high standards for their students, and how they don't really like to bring kids to the school who have been suspended. Then they started talking about how my home school is closer to my house, and it might be better for me to go there. And it was like blatant racism, like blatant. But it wasn't blatant to me at the time because I didn't want to go there. So to me, all I was hearing was ways to not have to go to this fucking school. So I was happy to hear this shit. And my body language showed it. And the only person that fought for me and my rights in that room was my mom, even against me. And that was the first time I ever saw my mom cry, was when we left that meeting. And she wrote a letter to the superintendent detailing how disgusting the meeting was. And, like, I went home and she told my dad about it, like, in tears. And, like, it wasn't until then that I realized what had happened.
Yeah.
And, like, I feel like I didn't really understand the impact of racism until that day. And I was in grade 8, going into grade 9. And I thought I was this. I'm all about equality. I'm outspoken, and I'm da-da-da-da. I was always that person. I thought I knew what was up. And that was the first time that I really realized, like, what coverted racism looks like and how we exasperate it and how you can be tricked into not realizing your worth because of structure of society, and just how you can be held back, how I was so willing to throw away this opportunity to exercise being a young black person who tapped into their academics and be recognized for that in this program throughout high school. I was one of the only black women who was enhanced in my high school when I think about it.
Wow.
Nobody ever said it in those terms. Nobody ever, like the Polaris, you're the first hip hop, but nobody ever said you're going to be the only black woman with an IEP. But I was. When I look back, I was the only black girl in my class. And I was in the same class with the same kids. We shared English, math, all of the courses that you had was me and all the same people, because that's how the enhanced program worked.
Right.
And there was like 2 or 3 black guys, but it was only one black woman in LME.
So wait a second. Let me step back. You're the first hip hop act to win the Polaris?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Some people say that K Tronada might be. Then there's an argument of whether K Tronada is hip hop or not.
Got you.
But yeah, when you look at a hip hop record, a rapper winning, I'm not only the first hip hop record to have won 13th floor, but also the first black woman to have won. And it's interesting. I feel like some of these firsts happened before, like in high school, but I didn't recognize it because nobody said anything. And your past is so, our past is so dismissed. The narratives are so silenced. The history has been, coverted and hidden. And so you don't even know where you come from, and you don't even realize the strides that you're making, or the strength that you have to embody in order to overcome certain things, because you don't even realize that society is designed to hold you back in these certain ways. And that's why those narratives are important. That's why Song Like 13 needs to be talked about, because we don't all have the same footing when it comes to nature versus nurture. The way that we're nurtured is not the same. The way that society sees us is not the same. We are byproducts of an environment that is not the same. And the environment might be the same, but the things that make it the environment are different.
Sure.
And that means our experiences are different. And yeah, that's why I think it's so important to talk about. And to share our stories with each other, because the same way that I can speak on these topics and somebody is going to learn something that they never knew. I've learned so much from listening to the indigenous experiences, their trials, tribulations, and their plight. I've learned so much from Jeremy Dutcher, the record that he did and the process that he went through to do that record. And I'm sure as I learned so much, he learned so much. And that's a narrative that isn't mine. And all I have to do to participate is listen. And I think that there's more of that needs to happen. We just need to listen to each other to grow and to educate each other. And it's not something that should create a source of unhappiness or a source of discomfort that makes us unwilling to do it. And I think being uncomfortable is important too. If we're always protecting each other's comfort level, we're never going to get anywhere either. So,
I was gonna say something, but I'll keep that. I won't get myself in trouble. Somebody who I want to have on the show quite soon. She made a comment about fragility and caused quite a stir up in this part of the country. So I'll say.
A comment about what?
She made a comment about white fragility, and a lot of people got upset about it.
Is she a musician as well?
Sorry?
Is she a musician as well?
She just talked about white fragility and basically put a middle finger up to it.
I'm sorry, I said, is she a musician?
Oh, sorry, is she a musician? No, she's an activist. She's more in the activist space, yeah. And she was a university student at the time. So, yeah. So anyway, I want to dig into that, but it's
she'll dig into it when you bring her on.
Yeah, it's important. It's important though that we have to be honest and share the experiences that we really experience, because me as a man, if I didn't listen to women saying that they've had it messed up and guys have taken advantage of them and done this and done that, I can't get in my feelings and say not all men and blah blah blah. I gotta listen and take it on the chin,
and that's I think that that self-protection is a thing that I think makes people not listen often. It's like, yeah, but well, I didn't do that, and it's like my approach too is everybody's approach is different. My approach is, if anybody were to respond to my approach like that, it's kind of like, okay, you actually are part of the problem, because my approach is very much educational and very much not attached. And I know some people can feel attacked by certain approaches, even when they're not. I can understand. This is me resonating with people who are not me. I can resonate with the fact that some white people really have never experienced certain things, and like they are for the first time considering certain things because me as a black person in grade 8 didn't realize what was happening to me. So I can understand why they might not realize, but the unwillingness to listen is the state and the lack of realization prior to conversation. So like, I will give space where space is due. You don't know something? Understood. I don't expect anybody to know anything that I'm trying to educate. That's why I'm trying to create the narrative, because I'm learning still. Yeah. But I do have an expectation that people will have the willingness to listen. And when people don't have the willingness to listen, that's where the conversation doesn't need to be had. And you are part of the problem. You're very much a part of the problem. Because it's the people that are unwilling to listen and the people that are always going into self-protection mode that are thinking selfishly for themselves. And a lot of the issue that we have in society is different people thinking for themselves solely and exploiting others for the benefit of them and their own.
Yeah.
And so if that is your mindset when we go into a conversation, you are part of the problem. Absolutely you are.
Yeah.
You know?
So we're about to wrap it up, but before we do, I have a question. Since you're the first rapper, I gotta ask you, who are your top 5 dead or alive?
Ooh. Okay, this is tough for me because I feel like there's so much more education that needs to be done in so many realms, and I don't think I even know, because I grew up on R&B and pop. Like, I didn't grow up on hip hop.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I found it later. I have 3 older sisters, and I grew up with mom and dad. So, and I was born in 92. So the era I was born in was probably the most aggressive hip-hop era, only next to now. And so I wasn't really exposed to hip-hop when I was young because it was hard to regulate. And I was a young woman, and a lot of the content for young women is probably not the best. So my parents didn't expose us to it. So I wasn't really getting, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like I started to backdate. Like, I fell into hip-hop in the early 2000s. So, like, the 50 Cent, Trini, Dipset, Ludacris era. Like, that's when I fell into hip-hop. And I've gone back and backdated, but I still feel that there's a lot more research for me to do in order to give a true top 5 dead or alive. Like, truly considering, because, like, there's still some, like, iconic classical, like, classic rappers who I only know, like, maybe their top 3 songs. Like, and I don't know their repertoire the way that I think that I should in order to truly, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Truly give. So I can do it with my, from a place of ignorance. And in the future, I'll do it again from a place of having done the research that needs to be done. But from a place of ignorance, I'm going to say Jay.
Okay.
I think Jay-Z is really clever. I think his approach to writing is really poetic. And it's different from me, but it makes me feel like he approaches writing a song similar to me because it's clever. And it's not surface level or mundane, and I like that. Like, so I would say Jay is one. I'm not going to give you an order, though.
No, yeah.
Just going to give you 5.
That's impossible.
But Jay is one of them. I'm going to say M because of his technicality and his speed, but diction within the speed. You can hear all the words. Cleverness as well, and wordplay. Wordplay is crazy. Following a rhyme scheme consistently. I feel like I was actually really influenced by M because because he's white, and that means he was one of the few rappers who was on TV. So I wasn't being exposed to hip hop, but much music was playing Eminem.
Sure.
And that's where pop music played. That's where NSYNC was. That's where Britney Spears was. That was the shit that was allowed to watch on TV. So for what little hip hop I could get, Eminem was probably the most prevalent in my early years. So he is a very big influence because he came from the battle rap era. So he came from like this I'm gonna insult you, kind of perspective. And then he also came with his own stories, which would create these really dope concept records that I like know and love to this day, like Stan and Cleaning Up My Closet those songs you don't forget because the story that he painted, you could like see it. So M for sure. Nas, from an educational perspective, telling you about things that you didn't know, and yeah, I just think he more so was like a rapper that like educated me.
Sure.
And I Know I Can was probably like one of the first songs that made me question what my Black history actually is. And that song was for kids. It was written about, there was like different themes within it, but the third verse for me is the verse that I to this day still know word for word. And it spoke on to me it's like kind of like my 13, like it broke down Black history in a verse.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a source of, it still is to this day, a source of research. I can utilize that verse to like determine, okay, today I'm going to look into this because Nas said this, and I don't know too much about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that song was one of the first times I ever questioned my own history and looked at my ancestors as kings and queens. Never before that time did I really do that outside of my dad telling me about John, Harry Selassie, and those things where I still didn't know too much about. This was an American not talking about being a Rastafarian and saying the same stuff my dad was saying, you know? So it made me really question where my people came from and see the value in them. I don't think I ever really saw. So, yeah, now it's from an educational perspective, for sure. Lauryn Hill.
Oh, okay.
As a singer as well. But just like approach, like it was like from a more musical aspect because with the singing and then there was like guitar playing, and then there were like these themes that were like specific to like the way a woman thinks. I think,
yeah,
because there were like topics that I really resonated with as a woman. And you never hear a song written by a man like these records, especially on the Miseducation of Lauryn Hill. You never heard anything written by a man like that. And I also really like Wyclef. So with that angle too. But I somebody who sang for 7 years before I ever rapped. She was kind of like an all-inclusive, but like the lyricism, the way that she would tell stories was very poetic as well. Not in the same way that Jay-Z did it, but kind of more like the way a singer would do it.
But she's underrated as a rapper. She got bars. She got bars. Like, people don't often talk about her as a rapper, but she's got legit bars.
No, she has bars, and like I think all the rappers that resonate with rap in this like really like smart way. Like, and she does it. She does it in a way that I think inspired me more than I realized, even to this day.
Mm-hmm.
When I listen back to some of her music, I'm like, damn, like I really loved this song growing up. Like, I remember like rapping, like that song that she has with Bob Marley.
Mm-hmm.
Turn your light down low. That verse, the way that she like approaches it, but then switches back into the singing. Like, I find I approach writing songs because I look at her as a lyricist, and she got bars, but she's also an amazing songwriter.
Yes.
She writes amazing songs. She tells a story so beautifully, and she manipulates her voice where sometimes she's rapping, and sometimes she's singing, and sometimes she's humming, and that's something I find that I do a lot. I utilize my voice as an instrument, and she did that, but also very, very, very lyrical.
Yes.
And the rhyme scheme, the way she would, but smooth. She's like smooth. She doesn't make me feel like a battle rapper vibe. Like, that's the thing that I have got in my beginning that I think she pulled me out of a little bit. And I feel I used to, when I was younger, be a really aggressive rapper. Like, yo, and my voice was high. So it just sounded ridiculous. Like, like you're trying to prove yourself, like you're trying to impress. And 13th floor, I remember there was a point where I was like, no, calm down, I went through this, like, period where I was watching my live performances, and I was, like, cringing. Like, oh, my God. Like, is this how I sound? And for this album, I really relaxed. And I didn't try to overprove myself with every lyric, and I only came with a certain amount of energy for the record where it really made sense. And I calmed down, and I feel like I was able to tap into a smoothness that Lauryn Hill always had. Not doing it because that's how she did it, but when I look back at this record, of all my records, I feel like that's what I took from, like, I took that and from her, understanding that you don't have to be like, yo, da, 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 to make a really impactful point.
Right.
You can be smooth and you can just be as lyrical, and the approach is different. So Lauryn Hill for sure, that's 4. 5. I feel like I should be, man, I feel like I should be playing. It's hard. My next one is hard. Rappers that I know are amazing that I don't know enough about, like Big Pun and Big L. I don't know their catalog or repertoire enough to consider that. But the 3 people in my head right now is Kendrick, Pac, and Big. And I don't know how to really, like, Biggie is dope. As a rapper, he's dope. Like, I think, you know, like, he's just dope. He's one of the best, but I feel like I'm having difficulty choosing between Kendrick and Pac right now for the 5th spot for different reasons. Kendrick is an artist that I really look up to, and I'm really inspired by what he does, and I think that he's extremely technical. He's like, you know, similar to Eminem in a way, but like with more real themes that are relative to me in the music. But then I think Pac, while not necessarily as technical, was earlier on saying things that no one else was really saying and really pushing the envelope in terms of the way that you think. And those 2 things are really important to me because I feel like 13th Floor is a record where I'm lyrically quite technical on some records, but also a large part of the important themes, it comes from like pushing the envelope and saying things that other people maybe aren't ready to say.
Yeah.
And I think Pac did a lot of that. So I'm having a hard time choosing between Kendrick and Pac for that 5th spot. But, you know, as I said, this is coming from a place of ignorance. Like, there's so much more that I need to know, and that list will probably change. And it's funny, now I have to allocate time to educate myself. Like,
no,
when I was leaving Montreal, I was telling myself, I'm going to have to learn how to, like, educate myself further, and I'm going to have to make time for it. So, like, when it comes to hip-hop, I have to make time to, like, go through records because I'm so busy now that it's harder than ever. And if I want to, like, you know, do research, I have to make time to watch a documentary. I have to make time, you know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, like, I actively am thinking of ways to make time to, like, decrease ignorance in every facet, you know? And that's just one of those facets for me, is learning more about hip-hop and where it comes from. And because there's so many people I'm probably not considering, so many, like, artists from the 80s who I don't know their catalog enough. And, you know, records by artists that when I was younger, I knew the record but didn't know the rapper, and I'm not even thinking of them right now. And yeah, I just don't know enough. I don't know enough, and I'm very vocal about, I don't think I know enough about anything really. I know a lot about making a song. Yeah. I think I can make a good song, but I don't know a lot about anything else. I don't know a lot about slavery. Even making a song like 13 is a big risk because I don't know anything.
Yeah.
But I'm grateful that, you know, the authenticity of what I did research and what I did learn, people were willing to join me in trying to better understand that narrative. And I plan to do more research on topics like that. Topics of hip hop, I think it's very important to understand when you're doing something. Living, you gotta understand where it came from, and where it's going. And I only know some information and so much more, you know, down to who the rappers were and the origin of hip hop and DJing and graffiti work and all of this sort of stuff. Like, I want to know more about that, and I plan to actively make the time in my life to learn that.
Mm-hmm. Well, I respect that you're willing to do that work, because a lot of people are not, especially some of the younger rappers that are like, I don't care, I don't know, and they just leave it at that.
There's a lot of ignorant people that are like, yeah, these old heads, they don't, like, I'm not with that. And I think that what has made me feel the most empowered is research from my past, whether it's musically driven or not. So knowledge is power, truly. Like, that statement is is really, really true.
Right. So what's next for you?
What's next? Finding more assets for 13th Floor. What are we going to put out from the record? What more does the record have to say? Like, what visuals can we create? Where has the impact not been maximized due to lack of resources? And how do we plan to maximize those things? Where are we going to play shows next? How are we going to take this message and bring it not only to more Canadian regions like Halifax Explosion, and Calgary for Femways, and Edmonton for headlining show, but how are we going to bring this, over to Europe, and how are we going to bring this to the States, and how are we going to bring this to possibly Asia? Like, that's where I am right now mentally. Is how do we take this to the next level, and what does that next level look like? We're still figuring that part out. What's next for me is continuing to reinvest back into myself, and taking whatever new knowledge it is that I can stumble upon, which, I try to, like, anytime there's free time, like, I'm big on documentaries or meeting up with people who know a lot about a topic that I don't, and I'm just really big on learning new stuff. And every time I learn new stuff, I get overly excited. I don't know if it's a Sagittarius thing, but I really like to get new knowledge because it makes me feel powerful. To be honest, knowing stuff makes me feel strong, and then it makes me do the thing that I think I'm best at, which is write with this newfound knowledge. So that's something that I wanna do a lot more of, is just feel more empowerment, and that's gonna come from learning more things. And then on top of it, I'm getting opportunities I've never gotten before to travel and and these opportunities are, expanding my mind even more, because I'm going to places and regions I've never been, and being taught about things I've never heard about. And again, like, this is all perspective. New perspective creates such a great foundation for learning new things. So I'm just honestly really, really excited to continue to learn stuff and to find ways to, like, because I'm still learning. I'm learning how to produce still. I can produce records, but I'm always learning something every day. You learn how to play an instrument a little bit better, and it makes your production stronger. And everything that I'm learning just goes right back into my career, my craft. And, my goal as a musician is to, do something positive with something that I love to do. Mm-hmm. And that's helping to shift narratives, helping to create changes the way I've started. And as I build, I can do this in different ways, with different tactics. You can, transcend that from, Travis Scott was able to put a whole tour together in I think it was Houston, in that documentary he did, because of an amusement park that he really liked. And, like, I'd like to do things like that, but, like, for like, bigger reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And his ability to do that is cool. I like the way that he's thinking, but, for me, I would do stuff like that, but, like, with a different reason behind it, a different supporting reason behind it. And all of those things are being developed now and in my past. And where I go with this next is, who knows, man, I could talk to somebody later today, and learn something I never knew, and that's, bam, there's an idea. And, like, it's just, like, it's so ever-moving and ever-changing. Mm-hmm. And I'm grateful for that, because there's no stagnancy when you're willing to, like, change and grow and adapt with whatever comes next. And that's where I am. I used to be really rigid in making my music, and now, the only thing that I have to remain true to is my sound. And I think I've found my sound somewhat, and I'm exploring it to find it even more. And outside of that, it could go anywhere.
Yeah. Cool. Quick shout out to White Trash Tyler and the crew that worked on the Travis Scott documentary. Actually, they're from Nova Scotia. So a little fun fact for you. Where can people find you?
You cut out a bit there. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't even hear you.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say the people who worked on the documentary are from Nova Scotia. So I thought that was a little fun fact.
Who's from Nova Scotia?
White Trash Tyler, the main, like, person behind the documentary for Travis Scott that he just put out.
Oh, yeah. You know what's funny? I knew that because I know these guys from a group called Aquaculture.
Yes.
Yeah, some of those guys are my boys. Actually, some of them are music Toronto students. That's cool, so they can educate me. I think sometimes there's a lot of education in Nova Scotia and Halifax because of the history there. So, yeah, one of my boys, Nate, he told me that one of his really good friends who was from Nova Scotia actually did that documentary. So I actually heard that from somebody. So that's really cool.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. So where can people find you online?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say Instagram is the easiest place to find me in terms of, like announcements and stuff. So that's just my name, Haviah Mighty, HAVIAH MIGHTY. You can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Facebook. To listen to my music, it's on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal Music, all that good stuff. So it's everywhere in that right. You can find it there. And yeah, and YouTube, of course. So you can find visuals, would be Haviah Mighty on YouTube. Start typing the name, it'll pop up, and yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this interview. It was so impromptu. I just saw you and reached out to your people, and they got back to me very quickly. So I appreciate that.
That's dope.
Yeah. So it's and I really didn't expect anything to come of it. So again, thank you and congratulations. The album is legitimately dope, and this is just coming from somebody I love new artists. I'm too old to kind of be. I think a lot of guys in my age group are kind of stuck in more older music. I'm 38, so we tend to not always want to listen to new artists, but I'm one who does. So when I say I like it, I legit like it because you're up there with some of my other new shit that I've been listening to. So
that's dope. I appreciate you taking the time for sure.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, I'll let you know when this goes out, and hopefully I'll be able to see you when you're in Halifax.
Yeah, sounds good, and yeah, definitely. I hope so. It'll be a dope show.
Yes.
Dope 2 shows actually.
Yeah, I think Wednesday and Saturday, I believe. Is it? Oh, I don't know.
No, I have 2 shows on the same day. Actually.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah.
Halifax off, and then a second show afterwards. So.
Okay. All right, cool.
One of the 2, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm doing a live thing for Halifax Pop Explosion, live podcast recording. So I'll be around anyway. So
okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That's great.
Cool. All right, take care.
All right.
Thank you so much for listening to the Art Pays Me podcast. Thank you to Langy Beats for the theme music. If you got anything out of this show, please rate, review, and subscribe on whatever platform you're listening on. The more you do this, the more reach the podcast gets, and the more artists I can help learn to make a living at what they love. If you want to know more about what I do, hit me up at artpaysme.com or at artpaysme on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Pinterest. See y'all next time.